Call it, I guess, an episode in the battle for world dominance. World dominance in, well, the stuff that we buy and how we buy it. Internet giant Google and the world's top supermarket chain, Walmart, sealing an alliance to move goods online, all with an eye to countering the ever-expanding ambitions of Amazon. How we shop is changing fast. Customers increasingly, for instance, turning to voice-activated services that let you order recurring staple items simply by issuing a command, further allowing retailers to hone consumers' profiles and cater to their anticipated tastes. Should we be cheering or shudder at that prospect? Just this Thursday, India's top court called into question new biometric ID cards that offer hundreds of millions of citizens that are putting them on the grid. But critics are worrying that the system is foregoing the right to privacy, as it even includes profiles of people's friends and spending habits. What kind of citizens, what kind of consumers are we becoming today? In the France 24 debate, we're discussing, well, the future of shopping. And with us, former consultant for Google, Jérôme de Rosard. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to thank as well Bernard Benamou, Secretary General of the Institute of Digital Sovereignty, a private think tank that focuses on
policy at the European level on technology and how to develop it.
Okay, I'll be asking you later about that big fine that was slapped on Google. We're also pleased, as always, to welcome Tech24's very own Guillaume Gralet. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you.
The France 24 debate, where you can join the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter, the hashtag F24debate. Guillaume, let me start with you. Why this partnership between Google and Walmart?
I think this partnership follows another acquisition by Amazon. We just bought Whole Food, and we see...
Whole Food, which is this organic supermarket grocers.
Yeah.
Those guys are offline.
Exactly.
It's a traditional supermarket.
Exactly, but it's part of a battle where voice is extremely important. Voice is a new platform, you would say. So in the daily life, you will speak and you will order things thanks to new devices, the Echo or Alexa from Amazon or the Home from Google that just been launched in France. And then the agreement that has been announced by Google today is important because Google is going to be able to offer more products to its customers.
More products to its customers because it's going to be able to offer everything that Walmart has.
Exactly. So there is the real battle today is between Google, Amazon, but maybe later Microsoft with its own AI platform Cortana, and maybe one day Samsung as well, and Apple, of course. Apple, which has also its device. It's going to be launched by the end of the year.
So all these online companies are getting into, well, grocery shopping.
Exactly. There are two things that they want to have the biggest supermarket available. And also there's another battle maybe we can have some time to discuss about, which is the last mile technology in order to deliver. We've seen Amazon investing a lot in drones. So Google might invest as well. So these internet giant companies want to be the place where you buy everything.
Jérôme de Rosard, this tie-up between Google and Walmart, I know it's just an alliance. It's not a merger, right? But at the same time, it seems a little daunting because Walmart is this huge. It's the world's biggest retailer, and you have the world's biggest internet company.
Absolutely, and I think at the center also of this alliance is the data, the data of the consumers of Walmart. Walmart is willing to share this data with Google, so that Google can make recommendations for things you might buy, like soap, or maybe you have a baby and then you might want to buy diapers and so on. So the key for both companies is to be able to merge their data so that the user is better known and can receive everything he wants just by saying, okay, order me some diapers. Don't need to ask me my favorite brand. I get it immediately.
And is it sort of Google in a way which is, I'm not going to say swallowing up Walmart, because again, this isn't a merger. This is it's just an alliance. But what's the future of Google? What's the future of Walmart in this partnership?
I think they are kind of in a defensive position against Amazon, which has already the data on shopping and also has already the devices. Google has the devices, has some data from your internet usage. Walmart has also data on what you buy in its shops or online. And by combining both data coming from both companies, they will be able to offer you the same level of convenience that Amazon can offer you today.
Yeah, Amazon looms large over online retailing in the United States. More than half the purchases that are made online. The company is now the world's 10th largest retailer, and it's doesn't yet have a store. It's supposed to. There's one that's going to open, I believe, in New York City very soon.
There is one which has been a kind of a platform of test bed in Seattle, if I remember. Right. And it was
Amazon Go.
Amazon Go, and I recommend to all of the viewers to see what it can be. It's a little bit surreal or science fiction-like, but it's what they want to do. And beyond the retail market...
Because let's just explain this.
Yes.
Amazon Go, you walk in and it's payless.
They want to create a seamless...
You walk in, there's no cashier.
There's no cash. You just put your phone on a reader, and after that, whatever you do or not do is scanned, analyzed, and then when you go out without registering anything, you don't have to stop. So they want to create...
So when there's no cash in your pocket, are you tempted to go for, well, you know, the more expensive Bordeaux rather than the
that would be
cheap wine? Psychologically, is there a thing when you don't have cash?
Yes, they want to create a seamless experience, as they say. And maybe the profile, oh yes, exactly what we're talking about, the Amazon Go experience. They want to create a seamless experience, but they don't want to create it only for retail and only for food or fresh food, like Whole Food is about. No, they want to sell their technology based on their cloud systems to every kind of retailer, Gap, Starbucks, and whatever. And so, in the way, they want to, at first, be on food, because it's a very large market, $700 billion. But after that, they can do whatever they want with that technology and get the data in the way.
Guillaume, your reaction to this, you and I are both back from New York City, where I went to a cafe where it was payless. Yeah. You just used your card. But this is a different proposition, isn't it? Yeah. Supermarkets, it's kind of like you have the feeling where you can just take stuff off the shelf.
Yeah, the most interesting thing on Amazon, I think, is a long-term view. If you see the story of this company, which is still very young, they made no profit or close to no profit at all. But you know, Jeff Bezos in his ranch in Texas, he's got a clock which gives the exact time for the next 10,000 years, second by second. And he wants really to create new experiences, and that's the real competitor of Google, except, you know, the Chinese Alibaba, for example.
Is this a good or a bad thing?
I think the obsession of Jeff Bezos is the customer experience, as Bernard said. So in this way, Amazon is a very innovative company, and we can admire that. The only thing is maybe we can be afraid of the lack of competition in the near future. Yeah,
the dominance that we're talking about when it comes to Amazon in the retail market. And if you look, by the way, as Guillaume was mentioning it, the still embryonic voice control market, Amazon Echo leaving Google, well, Google Home, which is its own device, far behind. And this is the size of voice-enabled purchases, 250 million. It's a small number. Note, by the way, how all the other competitors, 67% right now is controlled, 70% is controlled by Amazon Echoes. Google represents something like 20%, and all the others make up something like 5%. Yeah. So it's basically a two-horse race right
Completely.
now. You've brought one of these voice-activated devices. That's the Amazon one.
That's the Amazon one.
That's what is it called? Alexa? Or
it's called the device is called the Echo. This one is the Echo Dot, it's the small version, cheaper one, and there are the bigger one that called Echo. And this one is from Google. It's the Google Home that was launched in France beginning of this month, and it has been launched in the US the end of last year. And both of them are very targeting the same market. You can pretty much do the same things today, at least in the US, in terms of services. Each service that is launched on one is launched on the other. And they are both trying to attract more partners and more developers as well.
Okay, so Jérôme de Rosard, on your coffee table at home.
I have both.
You have these. So what do you say to them? What do you ask them?
You can say anything you want.
What do
You
you
can say,
ask them?
What's the weather today? That's a basic question.
But do you order stuff online?
Today, on these devices, especially, the online shopping is not available in France, so I cannot myself try it, but it works in the US.
There are machines like Amazon Dash with which you can directly order on your fridge, on your coffee machine. You can reorder the capsules or the milk or whatever you need, and it does it automatically. But this one is not in French yet.
Yes, and they also have the wand. It's like a small device like this with a detector. You can put it, scan some products at home, and it will order them automatically on Amazon. So they have a wide range of devices to allow you to order anything at any time. Like something comes into my mind, I order it immediately by voice, or I scan it, and it's all automatic, or just press a button.
Of course, it's not innocuous. Amazon or Google will keep your data,
Exactly.
and will know exactly what your tastes are. They'll know what kind of cereal you like. They know
Everything.
what brand of toilet paper you like to buy. Does that irk you a little bit?
Maybe less than when the retailers have the same kind of data, but they acquire it behind the doors in the back office by making deals between themselves to get a receipt from credit card from one retailer and share it with another one. There are these huge companies in the US, I'm sure you know their name better than me, that aggregate all the data on shopping and credit card and so on, and that have as much data as Google or Amazon have, but
not
in
as
a
much.
less transparent way.
Yeah, the problem is you can infer, you can deduct things from what you eat, what you do at home, that you don't even know about yourself. For example, it has been described that people who are entering in the very serious disease of Alzheimer are consuming more sugar. So if you change your regimen, at some moment you can change, and it can be a very early sign of the fact you're getting Alzheimer. So, in fact, there are things people don't know about themselves that people from Amazon, from Palantir, the very large and obscure company dealing with big data and security, could describe about people they don't even know about themselves. That's what big data is about. Mm-hmm. And that's what those companies, Amazon, Google, Apple, and a few others, are doing right now. And that could be scary, especially when we have been informed of what it can do in politics, when you know about people, their lives, what they do, what they don't, and so on.
You're getting to the essential question, which is, what are the implications of things like these voice-activated devices?
That's about the future of what we call in our language the Internet of Things, meaning that all those data are creating large amounts of new information about people. You were mentioning the Visa cards company, the bank companies. They were having information which was very large, very indiscriminate. Now we can know exactly when you wake up, because when you just go under your smoke detector, there is a sign which is showing that you are under it. So at some time we can say that you were awake at 3:55 and you were awake again at 4:55, and then you have maybe a sleeping issue, a depression issue, and so on. So the more it goes, the more all the information about the people will become transparent for those peoples. In the past, you knew when you were connected to the internet. Soon, you will be connected whatever you want or not.
Guillaume Gradet, when George Orwell wrote 1984, he was thinking about political regimes. He wasn't thinking about private companies sort of surveying and keeping watch on our consumer habits.
Yeah, but there's a link, because you can have both. I had the chance to go to Amazon headquarters in Seattle, and their real dream, I think, is be able to deliver stuff just before or without you ordering them, because they know that you're liking some stuff, etc. And you've seen that.
So they know we're low on cereal or toilet paper.
Exactly. And you know, the Echo Dot has been played a role in a crime, because you know the police, they insisted that the Echo Dot be a witness, because they knew exactly what happened before the crime appeared. But there's, going back to politics, there's a company whose name is Cambridge Analytica, which says that regarding 100 of your clicks, they will know if you're a Democrat or a Republican. They will know who you support just regarding what you're ordering.
Or your sexual orientation, or your philosophical orientation too. So when someone knows about your electric consumption, it seems very mundane, but you can see if the person is respecting Shabbat for the Jews or the Ramadan for the Muslims. You can have information by the simple fact is using more or less electricity, and then you can have information about everything now with all the devices, all the ways we interact with the objects we have around. We were mentioning Amazon. The next device they are creating is a wand. It's a little machine you put on your fridge, and you can see whatever you need on the fridge and ask for it to be renewed directly. And it can give you recipes. It's very nice. But it's also saying if you're eating things or not, if you have prevention about gluten or many other things, or you have religious preferences, and so on. So it's important that we keep the control. At this moment, those companies are having almost a political role. We were mentioning Cambridge Analytica. I was mentioning Palantir by the advisor of Donald Trump, Peter Thiel, which is a very serious threat to democracy at this time.
Is it a serious threat to democracy? We're going to pick up on that point when we come back. Stay with us. We have to take a quick break. You're watching the France 24 debate. Welcome back, or welcome if you're just joining us. It's the France 24 debate. We're discussing the future of shopping, the future of, I guess you could say, the profiling of shoppers in the company of a former consultant for Google, Jérôme de Rosard. This after Google announced its alliance with Amazon, its alliance with Walmart to counter Amazon in the field of retailing groceries to your home. With us to talk about it as well, Bernard Benamou, Secretary General of the Institute of Digital Sovereignty, a think tank which looks at how things should be done here on the European level. And with us as well, Tech 24's very own Guillaume Gralet. Welcome back to the show. On Wednesday was the announcement of that alliance. This Thursday in India, the High Court reiterating the right to privacy. The ruling comes amid a lawsuit that's still ongoing against the mandatory use of national identity cards. They're known as Aadhaar. Critics say these ID cards link enough data to create a comprehensive profile of a person's spending habits, their friends and acquaintance, the property they own, and a trove of other information. I know that Tech 24, Guillaume Gralet, did a story on this a while back, and it was seen really as this very ambitious and bold step, because a lot of people in India, of course, don't have any papers at all. And here was this idea that they were going to sort of, if you will, skip several steps and go straight to having everything on one card. It seemed like a neat idea, but then you think about privacy.
Yeah, on the short term, it's very good because people are going to have access to medical stuff, for example. But the real thing with personal data is when the personal data from your profession, for example, or your health, is mixed in the same, exactly the same bowl. I went to Estonia. They got the ID card, the e-card. There's got everything in it, but they say they separate, your stuff from your car, for example, from the transportation and also for health. So, in order for the citizen to keep the control of their data.
So your credit card and your ID card should always be separate, is what you're saying.
This, in the cloud, the cloud should not be in the same. It should be two different clouds in terms of an attack, or the different services, different administration should not cooperate together.
Bernard Benamou?
Yes, that's exactly why in '78, so far ago, in France, the CNIL, the law about the personal data, was
the regulator that follows the right of data.
And it was created because we didn't want to mix all kind of information, social, medical, fiscal, and so on. So we wanted to create separations. At that time, it was very new. And after that, it has been criticized everywhere. People saying, oh, it's a hindering business and so on. But now, after Snowden, after all those scandals about personal information being scanned and monitored, people are saying, oh, maybe the French were not so bad after all at dealing with regulation about data.
Is it all out of control? That's the question we're asking.
It's the main issue that people have with these kind of devices, that you will lose control of the data, the thing will be spying on you day and night, and so on. But it's also, for them, a criticism they hear, and so they provide you with tools so that you can control what data is stored, you can remove it, you have a nice dashboard where you can see all the things that you have said to it, you can remove something, you can correct something. It's not something that's completely out of your control. And they always say you can remove your account, delete it, you can turn off the mic. They have a big button where you can say, okay, I'm doing something, I don't want you to hear, just press the button and the microphone will be off. So as commercial devices, they need you to be ready to take it at home.
Which I guess brings us to the next question. Do most consumers care? Do they care if they're being spied on or not?
Probably not, if there's convenience that go with it.
That's the
They
problem.
prefer convenience to privacy.
Yes,
They are forfeiting some of their some of their rights because it's so practical. So the user experience we have been talking about is so simple that people forget that in the long run it can be against them, and it can turn back and it can bite back. Because at this moment it's nice. In the future, when you will have to deal with your insurance company for having a loan, maybe they will remember that you have been consuming this and that, having those bad habits you had when you were a teenager or a young adult, and so on. So at this time, we see it as something pretty nice. Not so nice when it comes to politics, in political elections. And then what we see in the US, people knocking at the door and saying, you are earning this year, you are doing this kind of work, you have such a profile in terms of work, and we wish to recommend our candidate because this and that. In France, we would like to put that person in jail because it's illegal. In the US, it's legal. Do we want that kind of policy about data, or lack of? In the future in Europe, that's the problem. Do we want our own products, and not only Google or Amazon's or Apple's? And do we want our own GAFAs in Europe? That's the real deal. And that's what we need, because if we don't have those companies, we will have values imposed over us, imposed upon us, and we will not have the choice at all in terms of medicine, in terms of insurance, in terms of politics as well.
You know who is working on this type of devices right now? And it's going to be scary a bit for a lot of people? Facebook. They have this unit that they have built over the past year or two. And they are currently working on two devices. One, which will be something a bit like that, but with a screen.
Hey, don't hide it. Bring it back out again. Here we go. Pass it over. Let's have a look at it.
The device of hell.
Something like that.
Future hell.
Sorry.
That's not going to make it. There we go. Got it. All right.
Something like that, but with a screen, so that you can do video conferences. You can do many things related to pictures. And another one, just like that, that will be a speaker powered by Facebook. And so they will be able to merge what's happening in your real life, your day-to-day life, with information they have on what pages you visit, you like, and so on.
Lots of reactions on the hashtag F24Debate. Miriam saying, call me skeptical, but I think voice shopping is more appealing to Amazon, Google, and Walmart than to consumers. Again, it's still at the embryonic stage. We don't know if this is going to work, do we?
I think in terms of technology, I'm very astonished because we've been speaking about AI since the Dartmouth conference in 1956. But here you see voice recognition, you see translation, you see cloud operating stuff. So just in terms of technology, I'm very much impressed, and I think it's going to work.
You think it's going to work?
Yeah, I think.
So do you want one of these in your home, Guillaume?
I'm gonna be a bit scared. I'm testing.
Do you need one?
No, I don't need one. But I didn't need Facebook, and I use Facebook.
And you didn't need a smartphone at first. You wanted it. You didn't need it. Now you need it. For now, those are sketches. Those are test beds. In the future, what we call now voice-activated e-commerce will become seamless in all your life, not only about retail or about shopping, but about what you do in life. And there will be services about health, about food, about cultural recreation, and so on. So it's not about only retail. The problem is about technology in its largest sense. And all those companies we are talking about are able to have an impact on all sectors of economy, not only in retail, not only in technology or communication, but in transportation with driverless cars, in health with genomics merged with information technologies, and so on. So
On TV?
they are not exactly. They have the possibility to interact with every single action of a human, and that's the difference. So will it be an Apple, Google, a GAFA, as we call it in France, world in the future? We are already living in it.
And those GAFA companies are all, we can't help noticing it, this channel is called France 24, are all American. And it should be pointed out, the voice activation, we were saying earlier, 95% of the market is either controlled by Google or Amazon. Back in June, the European Commission slapped Google with a record fine of 2.4 billion euros. This was not over voice activation. This was over a case that was going back 7 years over the way the company pointed search engine users towards its online shopping site.
What Google has done is illegal under EU antitrust rules. It has denied other companies the chance to compete on the merits and to innovate. And most importantly, it has denied European consumers the benefits of competition, genuine choice and innovation.
Now, Guillaume, I know you rub elbows with a lot of geeks, and a lot of them are quite disparaging of the Commissioner Vestager, not because of what she's doing, but they're saying, oh, she's behind the times. Because let's face it, by the time regulators get to the heart of the matter, 7 years have gone by in this case, but it is often a case of years before regulators can sort of redress the imbalances, and by then the economy's moved on.
Yeah, we've seen that with the Microsoft case, in Europe. We reproached the aggressivity of Microsoft toward Netscape, and by the time the competition was away, I would say that the real competitors of the GAFA, as we call them, would be the BATX, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent, Xiaomi. They're coming from China. They're going to be huge, and the best way for Europe to recover its sovereignty is not only by regulation, but by creating new unicorns.
Because otherwise we sound like crybabies, right? Because we don't have...
Yeah, because in terms of technology, it's huge, and we should, focus. The head of AI at Facebook is a French guy with great French people, Yann Lequin. So we should push them in creating...
Why is it not happening here?
Because we have missed every opportunity about the internet for the 20 last years.
Why?
Because we, and I say we Europeans, didn't believe the internet was becoming such a central technology in the field. Some were saying that the internet is a fad; it will not last. I remember that.
Countries like France and Germany and Britain, they breed great mathematicians. They breed
great cryptographers, great developers,
scientists,
and they have
they
the
must
best.
have seen this coming.
They saw it coming, but the elite, those directing the strategies of large companies, were saying we don't want our own revenue streams completely disturbed by those newcomers of the internet. All the telcos, the telecom companies, were saying we have our own technologies. We don't want a thing called Twitter against a thing which is called SMSs. So they didn't want to change their mindset, and that created a very large hole and a way for those companies to invest and not being disturbed. In search, we were 10 years behind the real issues. So if we don't invest now, and Guillaume was saying, we need to have our own unicorns, not only BlaBlaCar, which is the only unicorn we have in France, and just 16 unicorns in Europe, when you compare with 150 in the rest of the world. We need to create the conditions for the next steps. Voice, quantum computing, big data, and all Internet of Things, all the technologies which are shaping the future. At this moment, we have nice little proof of concepts, not large companies.
But why? The key is also the size of the market. You see, the big actors are coming from China or the US. Why? Because they have already hundreds of millions.
We have the largest market in the world. 400 million,
we don't speak the same language.
500 million
We don't speak the
consumers
same
with
language.
large capacity, large income. We are possibly the largest market in the world.
But if I want to launch a service like I'm a French company. I want to launch a service in the whole of Europe. First, of course, I have to translate everything,
Yes.
and then I have to adapt to the different regulations
Legal
in
frames.
each
And
country.
that's really the issue. We need to have a real single market, which is a kind of a dream, which has been said so many times by politicians. Oh, we want the digital single market. We need to create it and to create it fast. Because if we don't, the 27, not 28 anymore, markets of Europe will become a real blockade for all the technologies of Europeans.
All right.
Yeah,
So we like here in Europe, we like a well-regulated market. How do you build a online retailing market that works for everybody in Europe, that overcomes the hurdles you're describing?
It's a bit late, but I think there are a few initiatives around content already, digital content, where soon you will be able, for example, if you subscribe to a service based in Germany, and you will be able to access your content even when you're in France, which is already a big step forward, meaning that you will not have any border anymore to access content from one country to another, and soon.
There are also some interesting steps in terms of patents. We've seen the European patent emerging, which is a key as well. But another stuff might be the financing, the startups, and to attract investments at the same level as the US and China, maybe.
We need to have large companies be able to invest hundreds of millions in the large unicorns in Europe, and at that time they are obliged to leave the country or to leave the continent to go either in Asia or in California. That's a bad thing for us.
Which brings us back to the point you made in part one, the head of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, who's made a point of saying, I'm not interested in paying out dividends.
Yeah.
And I don't care if I lose money for this project or that project. I'm still going to try stuff.
Yeah.
Are Europeans ready to do that?
I think so. These guys are extremely interesting. Sometimes they're a bit disturbing. They think the role of the state, for example, some are libertarian. They don't think state is important anymore. I think we should bet more on youth and on the young people. Peter Thiel, you mentioned, he's doing something positive. Let's mention it. He invests in people. For people to drop out of the university before 20.
Yes,
so
it's
maybe
brilliant, but it's brilliant with an agenda. As you were mentioning Google, Eric Schmidt from Google was saying openly in his book, we want to replace states because they are inefficient. We are efficient. We have the possibility to replace them. It was something that would have made us smile 20 years ago. But when we know what Google is at this time, it's not funny anymore. They have the possibility to replace large chunks of state and state activities.
Jérôme Dorzal, should we be worried? Is Commissioner Verstager right, first of all, when she takes on Google?
She's late to the party, as we are saying, because she's talking about search on desktop. Already it's becoming very small. Yeah. Now the battle of mobile is already almost finished. I mean, 80% is by Android, 15% by Apple. The others are decreasing. So we really have to prepare for the next battle, which is going to be this type of devices, which is going to be all kind of Internet of Things devices. And maybe we need to put some legal framework before the battle starts, so that everybody starts with the same rules and they don't use an existing position to invade another market.
Who draws up these legal frameworks? We often, because now every time there's a French government, you have a minister for digital economy. No disrespect to the one who's just come in, because and to his predecessor, but they're both very competent people. But how do they know what to do when it comes to the legal framework that Jérôme's described?
They should realize that the legal framework is changing very fast. Let's mention very quickly blockchain, for example. I think every politician should, get more interest in what you call the STEM, science, technology, education, mathematics. And in France, for example, literature is much more important than mathematics, and I think it should be more important for the politicians.
The politicians, they need. I would like to just go back to what you were saying about. Indeed, on some markets, European Commission is late, but at this time, banging the door and saying they have to pay is also reminding us that they don't pay taxes in Europe. It's partly because our fault because there is no uniform digital market and not the same fiscal systems in all the countries. But basically, we have to put limits. And at this time, they are behaving badly in terms of competition. They are behaving badly in terms of paying their taxes. And that has to change. And if you ask for them for 4, 5, 6% of their worldwide revenues, you can be heard even from the small Europe.
Bernard Benhamou, let me ask you on that score. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission in 2013, it closed its own probe of Google after a few minor concessions. What are your thoughts as we see this battle royale that's playing out right now, domestically mostly in the U.S., between Walmart and Google on the one hand and Amazon on the other? What are your thoughts on the fact that, well, they're not very big on regulation or refereeing any of this right now? How's that going to play out in America?
They are very, I would respectfully disagree. The Americans are very good in regulation because they help their companies to become giants. When we talk about Elon Musk, for example, from Tesla, we don't know that most of his contracts on the early stages of the company were government-based, federal-based, and he has been subsidies, fiscal cuts, and so on. So we don't have the same kind of aggressivity when it comes to helping our European companies, because basically most of the leaders in Europe don't believe we can create an ecosystem that can be challenging for America and now China. And we need to believe that to make it happen, a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's possible because we have done that in the past, and those technologies, as we were saying, are done mostly by European people.
Whose job is it?
I think it's the antitrust on the short term, but the politicians should celebrate scientists, should understand, should be interested in science. Of course, we're going to see in the gene editing stuff, very problematic stuff, but I think at least if the politician could get interest in science, it could be a huge victory in Europe.
All right, the call of Guillaume Gralet is where we'll leave it there. But stay with us because Bernard Benhamou, Jérôme de Rosard, it's time for our Media Watch segment. Here she is.
Hi.
It's
I'm
Shona
here.
Bhattacharya.
Hi. How are you?
So, what is this called again?
Google Home.
Google Home. Okay. What are your thoughts on that when you look at it?
Well, let's start. I thought we would start, first of all, by going onto the Google Express website that's going to be hosting Walmart. It's basically, it looks like this. One of the major drawbacks of the service from our perspective, sitting here in Paris, is that it's only available in the continental United States. So to give the site a whirl, I typed in 19087, which is a Pennsylvania zip code, which I know because I used to live there. As you can see, the website is like a mall. It has different stores on the website where customers can shop. Amazon, on the other hand, is kind of like a department store where Amazon really sells everything that you buy. So Walmart will be available to buy on Google Express starting in late September. And this is Walmart's website that's already up and running. And why isn't this not working? Where is this? There it is. This is Walmart's website. So it's literally a retailer that is the world's biggest retailer and online version. Now, to quote this Wired article, it says, Google and Walmart's big bet against Amazon might just pay off. But if will it get anywhere close to Amazon? It's highly unlikely. This title is actually very misleading. The article points out that Amazon controls 76% of online retail, and author Brian Barrett writes, whether the Google-Walmart alliance ultimately pays off is almost beside the point. He says the alternative was watching Amazon pull further and further ahead. So the big draw for Walmart, on one hand, is Google's Assistant, a voice-activated service right here, right, that lets you tell your phone or this device what you want, and it brings it up automatically for you. A service, by the way, that Amazon already has with Amazon Echo. Now, Walmart, on the other hand, for Google, Walmart brings data. Walmart is, after all, as I was saying, the world's largest retailer in terms of revenue, though for now it's mostly brick and mortar and not online. And 56% of Walmart's business is in groceries. So with Walmart, Google is going to get access to Walmart's shopping histories, and that could improve personalization. Now, I do have a graphic that shows the importance of e-commerce today. Voice-enabled purchases are nowhere near that share of the e-commerce market. So it's believed that the entire e-commerce market is worth about $390 billion US dollars. That was in 2016, and it's rapidly growing. But see, voice-enabled purchases are a tiny, tiny fraction of that, 250 million per year. That's according to an e-market research company. And it's a big leap to make to suppose that customers, at least in the United States, will change their habits and stop shopping in grocery stores and only or exclusively, or not even exclusively, but majority of them going online to buy their groceries. So we'll see if that actually happens. And this Business Insider story takes a look at whether that's even possible. Now it says, there it is. It says that the key implications it talks about the key implications of the Walmart-Google partnership to take on Amazon. And it says that according to this graph that you have here, the circle graph, by 2025, online grocery shopping will total some $100 billion, which is an impressive sum, right? But the retail grocery shopping, so in-person grocery shopping, will remain dominant, and it will be about $400 billion, which is, 4 times that amount.
All right, so Guillaume Calais, when Amazon does a deal with the organic grocer Whole Foods, what's the idea behind that for Amazon?
Just to say, because Amazon, the image of Amazon is about a low-cost company, so just to show that they can have high-end products, and Whole Food is about organic food, for people, quite rich people. So just to show that with Amazon you can find anything. I had a lunch recently with the head of Amazon France. He said, "What do you want?" And I said 3 examples, and everything was on Amazon. They just want to show that everything is on Amazon.
The entire world is on Amazon.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
A chilling prospect.
A chilling.
Personally, I don't know.
Shona Bhattacharya, I want to thank you.
François.
I want to thank our panel once again. Thank you for joining us here in the France 24 debate.